talking about Bofa? I've never heard of Bofa, GamePro. What is a Bofa? I've never heard of a Bofa. We're talking about boofing. Both of these nuts. You got me.
Rolled though.
Yep, we already got the blunt ready.
Troy.
Put this there. Put that there. That's a good vibe.
She already has gone. See that this bagel. See that this bagel.
I'll give you the shaka.
Shaka Khan!
Ooh, I got ninja blowing skills. Oh, ninja blowing.
Does your dick
swing low? Does it wobble to and fro? Can you tie it in a knot? Can you tie it in a bow? Can you throw it over your shoulder like a continental soldier? Does your dick hang low?
Hey guys, how's it going? GamePro here. Just doing a little mini live in the morning. If you guys want to hop up and toke with me, super cool. Oh shit! I'm pretty sure that Troy's still asleep. So I didn't really ask him about doing this. I just kind of told him I was gonna. He was like, "Hey, I'm doing a short little mini." So I just figured out, for any of the East Coasters or anybody who's up like crazy fucking early in the morning for like no goddamn reason, I figured, hey, why don't we wake up before Troy gets up and then we'll go fuck with Troy and hang out with him and shit, Cheers, Neil. How's it going, man? Good morning. I saw that nobody, at least I checked my subscriptions. I saw that nobody was live, so I figured, fuck it, I'd do a little mini one. If anyone wants to come on up, I believe I dropped a link. It's just going to be a little mini one. Hey, we got a Tony. Tony plays. Cheers.
Hey, cheers.
How's it going?
Pretty good. The only reason I'm up at like 8:04 in the morning in the East Coast is because of a neighbor from hell. But besides that, great morning.
Oh, yes. Neighbors from hell. Those are fun. Sometimes.
Yeah, we used to have a fantastic neighbor. Unfortunately, he moved out, and shortly afterwards, we believe he passed away from health complications.
Oh, man.
And our new neighbors are just absolute tyrants. And according to people I've talked to around town, they were kicked out of multiple rental properties for similar behavior.
Oh, shit, man. Well,
yeah,
hey, if you look at it this way, they probably won't be around forever.
Yeah, which is good news.
The same way the cool guy wasn't around forever. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm sorry you're dealing with that, though. That sucks.
Oh, thank you. It's okay. I got smacked in the face with a trash can yesterday, and, all I wanted, what my attorney basically said, hey, just have them come and apologize, because that would show good faith on their part in the court system if it ever went to court.
Cheers, Neil. Wow.
And so we woke up this morning to them saying, hey, if you don't give our trash can back, we'll call the cops. I'm like, okay, well, here's your trash can back. That's all documented now and sent to my lawyer. Thank you.
Damn, dude.
It's kind of funny because they think they're all this and that with their attorneys. And I'm like, you do realize I come from a long list of family attorneys who are so distantly related to me. It's not a conflict of interest if they were to represent me.
Yeah.
So... And the good news is, in Maine, there too many people make too much to afford to be eligible for a public defender, but not enough to afford their own private attorney. So there are a lot of attorney offices in Maine that will take cases pro bono.
Yeah. Well, Neil, how's your morning going?
Yeah, how's your morning, Neil?
Neighbor woke me up at like 4:30.
Oh man, you guys with your neighbors.
Yeah.
Shit.
My neighbor likes to think that he's a light man, but he's got lead feet.
Ah, right. So he stomps around like Godzilla.
He jumps out of bed. It sounds like he jumps from like 5 feet up in the air and thud.
Just stomping.
Really, dude.
Oh,
like, really? Yeah. You literally jump out of bed.
Jesus Christ.
It's the same way here with my upstairs neighbors, but I think a large portion of that is the fact that there's no insulation, there's no padding, nothing.
Yeah.
The walls are so
None of
incredibly
that
thin
here
that you
either.
can- Yeah.
None of that here either. It's fucking. There's no insulation between the floors. There's no soundproofing. Nothing.
Nothing
So
here either,
I hear the guy. I can hear him fart. For fuck's sakes.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
dude.
strange thing is the upstairs apartment is exactly out of ours, and so whenever I'm in the bathroom, I can hear them in the bathroom above me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why was it designed this way?
So that you can be bonded through BMs.
Bodily functions.
It's like,
Yeah.
why?
Bowel movement bonds. The bowel movement brotherhood.
Normally, I would go for the sativa early in the morning, but I guess I'm gonna go for what's already ground up, which is key lime pie, this indica dominant.
Nice.
Nice. So I'm gonna have to call my property manager today.
Oh yeah.
Remind them that yeah, I'm blind. Don't just stick shit on my fucking door. Knock
Yeah.
on the goddamn door and hand it to me like a fucking goddamn normal person.
Well, I'm just gonna hide this under the trash can in the hallway. Hopefully you find it, maybe. I don't know. How does blind work? How does one blind? Some people, man, are so fucking stupid. It's crazy.
It's like they're giving me a notice of intent to come in to my apartment.
Mhm.
Traditionally, that's a form that is handed to you in person
Yeah.
or by registered mail.
Sure.
That's normally the two ways that it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just tape it to my door.
They do the same
They
thing
don't
here.
knock. They don't say nothing. They just sneak by, tape it to my door, and keep on going.
See, the difference where I am from where you are is here it's standard for them to knock on your door first. If you're not there, then tape the notice to your door.
Yeah, these fuckers aren't even knocking first. They're just taping
Really?
it
Yeah.
and sneaking away.
Yeah. It's like when you
It's
first
like I
rented
have-
the place.
I have extremely good hearing. I can hear when they come into the hallways.
Oh, yeah.
I can hear when they're shuffling around out there. But yeah, I don't always hear when they're doing something at my door. I heard them go by my door. Then Quinn goes to go out and fucking it falls on the ground. It's like, oh, we got a letter.
That's what people don't realize about people with visual impairment is that fact that they understand and notice a hell of a lot more going on than you realize.
We have to.
Facts.
You have to for safety. I mean, the world is not exactly the safest place. I mean, you think of it, there's traffic, there's a whole bunch of other
Even
options.
walking down the street, walking
Yeah.
by driveways, I have to be vigilant because I've been
Exactly.
backed into
Yeah, because
multiple times.
Oh man, I'm blind. What the fuck is your excuse?
Yeah,
That's
Dickwad?
more or less it.
Fuck, man. Some people.
I'm smoking modified skunk with grape ape hash.
Ooh, that sounds delicious. I'm smoking some
Ring
Ewok
started.
lunts. It's burning pretty good. It's not boating out on you or burning on you.
And all my plants are hanging now.
Yeah? Nice. How long did that take you?
Oh, to come down to minutes.
Yeah.
Hanging minutes.
Not very long.
It's the trimming that's going to be the bitch.
Oh yeah, no, I know that the trimming is what's going to keep you there forever.
Like with the citrus
Are you going to do a
pie-
trim jail live?
Probably not.
No,
With the
okay.
citrus pie, which was 6 ounces, I was standing at the stove for 3.5 fucking hours.
Jesus
Damn.
Christ.
And I'm expecting more out of this. So yeah, no.
Damn.
I ain't gonna be standing it. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might want to find yourself a nice comfy chair.
Well, luckily I got the trim bin now, which will make things a
Yeah.
little bit easier.
True.
I think I found my new favorite munchie snack for when I'm hungry,
Oh yeah.
and you're gonna be really weirded out by it. It's a peanut butter and grape jelly sandwich with a slice of cheese.
That's
Actually,
probably
I've heard
good.
peanut butter and cheese
probably
is a
good.
really good mix.
It actually is
Yeah.
a really, really good mix, especially if you melt the cheese a little bit or on top a little bit.
Mhm.
It's amazing.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
But I looked it
Um,
up. I was like random weird snacks on YouTube, and this just popped up on Shorts. I'm like, yeah, let's try it.
You know,
Grilled cheese sandwiches.
do you
with
fry
strawberry
that?
jelly.
Did I fry? I mean, no, I just kind of made a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
And then put cheese on it.
I did melt a little bit of cheese with a torch lighter, though.
But have you had a fried PBJ?
I have, yes, they're really good. I usually like
Oh,
some mix
man.
of fried PBJ, and I like to dip it in like a vanilla milkshake that's like a little bit soupy.
A fried PBJ and cheese would almost be like if a grilled cheese and a PBJ fucked.
Yeah,
That's probably pretty good.
it is pretty good.
I think I'm gonna make that. I'm gonna make a fried PBJ and C.
Waffle, a PB&J.
That would be good too.
I think the funniest thing I've ever eaten, actually, no, I was CrossFit at the time. I was drunk and high.
Oh yeah. So if you're drunk and high, you could be eating anything. You could be like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, I
the
found some
first time that
acorns. I
did
thought that would do the trick. I don't know.
I was dipping Oreos in picante level salsa.
There we go. Attaboy.
Yep.
Attaboy.
And my friend looked at me and said, "What do you?" I remembered none of it the next morning.
I'm fucking
And
eating
my-
you, dickhead.
I remember none of it the next morning. And then I look on Snapchat and I'm like, "Why was I tagged in? What the was this?" And it's some of my public story, and I'm like, "Oh shit."
Fuck, man, that is funny as shit. I
Times
remember
you
the
wish
first time.
that you didn't get drunk.
Yeah. kinda
The
funny
first
because
time a
people are
friend
like,
of mine
"You're so
ever got
young."
like
You're like, "You're-
crossfaded.
You look like you're 18, and I'm like, "Thank you. I'm much older than that, but
Mhm.
thank you."
Mhm. The first time my friend ever got crossfaded was the first time that they ever got like stoned, like super stoned, and it was at like a
Oh.
420. Is it like a local 420 event thing? And it was like a bunch of us friends just like hanging out IRL, getting super stoned. And he posted this thing online when he got home, and he was like, I was so hungry, I ate one bell pepper, 3 strawberries, half of a head of cabbage, and just like the list went on. It was like the most random, like a radish, half of a burrito. Like the list just went on, and I was like,
You just
honestly,
find out
I'm
all
impressed.
leftovers.
I'm impressed. That's
Yeah, no.
amazing. But
I
yeah,
have a friend who went to the first, before weed became illegal in California,
Mhm.
there was this public event in a park that was sanctioned and allowed by the local law enforcement and stuff like that, where you could go in, sit down, smoke your marijuana that normally would be illegal, and protest to the upcoming legalization that's going to be happening. So you're
Mhm.
all for it. You're saying, let's do this, and protesting anyone who says no, keep the weed out of the state. And so it turns out within seconds of them saying go, light your bowls, the entire field was covered in a cloud of weed smoke.
oh man,
And he was there for it. And I was just like, oh, I wish I was legal age back then, but back then I wasn't.
yeah.
It was before my time of smoking weed, so
There it is hanging.
That's
Damn.
looking great though, Neil.
that is looking nice.
Hell yeah, dude, that's sick.
I should get 3/4 of a pound out of that.
Probably.
I'm hoping anyway.
See, as
Yeah.
much as I want to grow, technically speaking, my roommate's not on a lease, and I've technically been here more than the 2 weeks I'm supposed to. I've been here for months. We've been
Mhm.
waiting to get on a lease and stuff like that, and until we're on a lease, he's technically supposed to be the only one in the building.
Technically, though, now that you've been living there for months, you basically
have
got
tenants'
squatters
right.
right.
I got squatters rights, yeah, which is kind of funny because I've been here for I think 6.5, almost 7 months now.
Mhm.
So, and the property management has seen me coming and going, and so has maintenance. But every time they ask, I just say, "Hey, I'm a friend helping out," because at the time my roommate had a broken foot.
Mhm.
So I just said, "Hey, I'm helping out till he gets back to work." and that
Man,
excuse has
the
never
way
stopped.
the way my brain works sometimes is just stupid. Because you said squatters' rights, and I couldn't help but picture someone walking out into
Squatting.
the middle of a busy street, squatting down and taking a shit, and people are like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "Squatters' rights." Then just runs down the street.
Unfortunately, things like that are a regular occurrence in my town because unfortunately we have a huge issue with hard drug users in our town. And it's not. I'm not saying it's their fault per se. Addiction is a huge struggle, and I have family who struggle with it. I understand it deeply. The thing is that we're not doing enough locally to help those who are struggling.
So
And
your
it's
town
not-
is probably hilarious, a little bit
It's-
sad, and sometimes scary.
Exactly. And
Okay.
literally, there's a
I come
street
from that.
about 0.5 miles away from me that has almost shootings on the nightly.
We
yeah.
have a drug hab here in town that they send people to this drug hab from all over this goddamn province. They send them here because we're in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But we had a fentanyl bust there a fucking month ago. It was fentanyl, cocaine, crack. The guy had firearms, all this other shit. So it's just bad even up here in this little
Yeah,
fucking town.
The sad thing is similar to the places that you just mentioned. There are some places down here that also got raided that were supposed to be helping people with their addictions, and instead we're just feeding them their addiction.
Mm.
And it was
That's problematic.
it was deplorable. I was talking to locals about it. I'm just sitting here like I know people who struggle. I have a friend who I went to school with who not even a month ago died of an accidental overdose because he took something that he didn't know was laced.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta
Oh, yeah,
be careful.
that
man.
happens all the time.
Yeah,
that
you
happens
gotta be
all
careful.
the fucking time.
Like I don't do anything hard myself, but because I know people who do, and I see people around town tripping and that kind of stuff, I carry Narcan on me. I'd rather
Yeah.
have it than not need it. You know,
hmm
I'm not one of those people that can just stand by and watch somebody OD and not do anything. I have to do something.
Yeah, absolutely.
By the
Just
time
'cause
I was
you're a-
16,
you know,
I had
you're
my
a-
St. John
you're
ambulance.
a human being. You know?
Yep.
Gotta look out for your fellow humans.
By the time I
Yep.
was 16, I already had my St. John ambulance card.
Oh wow.
That meant that if I seen an accident, I had to help. I
Yeah.
had no choice.
Yep.
Or I could
Mhm.
actually be charged if I didn't help.
Like here in the U.S., if you provide medical, there were I don't know how prevalent this is nowadays, but there used to be parts of the military where you can get military trained medics, right? Who come over here and are like, and certain branches are licensed to practice once they come back to the U.S., but then certain branches aren't. And you had instances where they stopped to help accident victims and save their lives and were criminally charged for it.
Mm.
It's a whole bureaucratic nightmare over here. And if you stop to help somebody and they walk away with a lifelong injury versus dying, they have the right to turn around and sue you for everything you have.
Yeah, it's
It's
a
a messed
little
up
ass
thing.
backwards.
But at the same time, I'm not gonna. I don't care if they want to sue me. I don't care. But
Mhm.
I'll sleep better at night knowing that they're alive versus me having money.
Mhm.
I can get.
It's like
by
in
with a pack
it's
of
like
ramen
it's
with a
like in
shelf on
it's like in The Incredibles, right? You ever see the
Yeah.
movie The Incredibles?
it. I have, yeah.
Where they're Mr. Incredible saves some guy, but then ends up breaking his back in the process, and then he sues him for like $250,000 and then gets all superheroes banned.
Yeah.
We're better without him. We don't need superheroes.
Until
honestly,
supervillain comes to your town and destroys everything, then like, where's
Yeah.
Mr. Incredible?
yeah. Well, Mr. Incredible kind of sucked as a superhero though.
He
And even
did.
like in the second one, they pretty much acknowledge that. Well, not so much that he sucks as a superhero, but like he's super fucking messy.
He is. He causes so much carnage and accidents.
Like way more. Like it's like Hulk levels of.
Then you
Oh
look
yeah,
at the
sure. Let's just
Avengers,
send him in
too.
there and then have to completely
the
redo our
Avengers.
fucking
Every time
infrastructure.
something attacks, so the fucking entire
city
city
is
is
destroyed.
destroyed.
It's just
Yeah.
fucked. It's just fucked. Man, I
But
bet
then
it.
by
I
the
bet
next
it keeps
movie,
the
it's all
workers
repaired.
busy.
They're still
Built it
repaired
all.
magically, like billions of dollars or trillions of dollars, and just disappear in the ether.
Yeah.
Like, dude, we know
Hey
that
man,
stuff
they're
costs
keeping the unions busy, man. They're keeping those
are.
the carpenters union and all the they're keeping
Oh,
them at
man.
work. So I don't know. Maybe there's probably a couple like fictionally there'd probably be a couple construction workers that are like, dude, I fucking love the Hulk. He pays for
Superhero
my
construction.
food.
Yeah, he's like,
Superhero
he pays for my
construction.
food,
He
dude.
signs my checks, man. Every time he
Yeah.
walks through a fucking building, who do you think's fixing that? Me and my dudes.
Yeah.
Funny as fuck.
I think the first horror movie that I saw as a really young kid, and it really messed me up. It was the Saw series. I saw it at like between the ages of 5 and 8.
Yeah, that's too young. You were between the ages of 5 and 8 when Saw came out?
What was it? Was it Saw or which one? I'm only 24. Was it Saw?
It could have been. It could have been. You're a little young,
It
yeah.
might have been the
Jigsaw.
original Saw. I'm pretty young. I mean, I'm gonna be 25.
Saw came
next
out
February.
like shit. It probably came out close to 20 years ago.
So yeah, it would be right around my childhood era. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's wild.
Yeah.
So how did that end up happening?
Well, you give a kid unfiltered internet access with no supervision and free admin access on the family computer. He's
That'll
gonna
do it.
download a lot of pirated shit.
That'll do it. Hey, you're lucky. Saw was the worst thing you saw, I guess.
Oh
if it
no,
was.
no, it was not.
All right. Well, anyway, enough about that. What did
The
you
worst
think
thing
about
that
the
I saw
original
was
Saw?
a virus called Gorilla Price that I could not get off the family computer and ended up getting grounded for.
Oh yeah, that'll happen.
It was this thing of like, hey, you want free coupons? And then it installed adware times like a million.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good.
And no antivirus program was picking it up. So dumbass me thought, hey, let's take all the files from the installation folder of Gorilla Price and submit it. Little did I know the things about like registry keys and shit like that can be used to recreate the virus files back after they're removed. Yeah, no, I just unintentionally made the virus more powerful by doing that.
I'm about to
Because I didn't submit all the
retroactively
files.
ground you right now.
And so my mom was just like, you dipshit. And so that spun my
That
whole mind
sucks.
into getting into computers. And that's why now I'm a programmer and I actually do malware analysis for fun. Like anytime I invite my viewers on my development channel to send me malware via email, and I will do malware analysis on it on a video.
Nice.
That's
new
pretty
series I'm
interesting,
starting.
actually.
I started it on Patreon a while back, and it got so much like that I think I'm just going to do it now on my main channel.
I could see that being a hugely successful thing for you.
Yeah, in fact,
Like
what
that's
really got
a
me
very
into it-
unique. Yeah, that's a very
what
unique
got me
spin
into that
to put on
specific
things.
scene of malware analysis kind of thing like that was a YouTuber and cybersecurity researcher known as John Hammond.
Uh-huh.
He does cybersecurity stuff.
Does
on
he
YouTube
spare no
as well.
expense?
What was that?
Does he spare no expense?
Oh, he's one of those that will download like virtual machines and run like ransomware and shit in them.
Well, I'm just making a joke because that's the same name as the guy who started Jurassic Park. John Hammond. That's the same name.
My God.
So I thought that was yeah. That's okay.
over my
That's
head.
okay.
But
That's
yeah,
okay.
no,
That's fine. It's
John
early.
Hammond-
It's early yet.
It's really funny because John Hammond made this whole like thing about a fake CAPTCHA, those fake CAPTCHAs, and it tells you to hit the Windows key and R to run like PowerShell script or whatever. And then he unintentionally made a version of that was easier to fish people on. Released it as an educational purpose, and it was used by actual malicious actors. And then these people called Uwu Underground, which are like these techno music people, they make music about tech stuff, and they made tag John Hammond in it, and they made a whole song about that. It's on Twitter. It's pretty awesome.
Interesting. So I got a question.
Yeah.
You mentioned watching the movie Saw.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? Was it just a random thought that popped into your head, or were you trying to connect that to something else? Because it almost seemed like it was connected to something.
It was connected to something. It was connected to the movie talk we were doing.
Okay.
We're talking about The Incredibles, and my mind went to,
Yes.
oh, there's a movie that.
Oh
really
yes,
messed me up.
Saw. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, ADHD brain early in the morning.
No,
man.
no,
Fucking
dude,
thing,
totally
man.
good, totally good, totally good. I'm just trying to keep up.
Yeah, no, my brain hasn't quite caught up with my mouth yet. Takes a while for that medication to kick in.
I just take everything in.
You know what's funny? I remember back in the days of Vine. Oh, I was in middle school during those days. It was kind of funny
Vine.
because my friends were like, "Hey, let's make a Vine and see if we can make it go viral." I was like, "There's no way it's gonna go viral from a little crappy middle school in the rural town of Lisbon in Maine, where nothing ever happens." Spoiler alert. we've
Was
had a
you
lot
guys
of
did the
controversy.
dance thing? No,
The,
it wasn't the dance one.
No, we did. We stood outside collectively as an entire class. The utter amusement of our teachers, who just stood there looking like, "What the fuck are they doing?" Recorded ourselves in selfie mode with all of our phones, saying "photosynthesis, photosynthesis," while standing in the sunlight. That's all we did.
I think I seen that.
That sounds familiar, honestly.
Because we were copying another Vine that went viral, but we had a little twist to ours. At the end of ours, we all brought out a gallon of water and we're going to pour it on ourselves.
Okay, yeah.
The administration was not happy about that and said, if you do that, you'll be suspended. So we said no. Granted, they did
Suspended,
towels
suspend
for
an
like
entire class for pouring water over themselves.
it
That
was
would be
what.
that would be a mess to fucking.
Yeah, well, the last time that our the high school that I went to, for example, we had a walkout and the students like stood outside on the public sidewalk outside of the school. Didn't call anybody, got 8 news crews there during a protest when the school did nothing about a sexual assault that happened. And they threatened to suspend us. And only when the news crews got there and we showed them the emails we got from the superintendent saying that they'll suspend anyone who doesn't return back to school. And did the news once the news reported on that, was that rescinded and said that no one will receive punishment for exercising their rights.
Yep.
And I'm like, did it really? And we didn't even call the news crews. It was just spread by word of mouth. One happened to be driving by, and then another one drove by.
If there's a bunch of kids standing out on the sidewalk,
Yeah, in front of a high school,
they're gonna
with
notice.
signs
People are gonna
on, like
notice.
poles and shit. Yeah, they're gonna notice. And it's kind of funny. I'm like, we just stood there silently, doing nothing, no bullhorns, no nothing. But we had signs that say "honk if you agree," and we got so many honks that they were like, "It's disrupting school activities." I'm like, should have thought of that before doing something horrible.
Mm-hmm.
We are gonna stand with our fellow classmates, and we're not gonna say this is acceptable. No.
Yeah. Hey, cheers, Mr. Fucker. How's it going, man? What are you smoking on?
Dude,
I'm sorry. I haven't really been keeping an eye on the chat. I've just been like zoning out and like.
I can't see the chat. So my
yeah.
computer's currently update. Oh no! It once again got stuck on the 98%, and it's been like that for 48 hours. According to
I've had the fun of waking up this morning, and yeah, my monitor wasn't working.
Really?
It took me fucking like almost a half hour to figure out what the fuck was going on.
What ended up being the problem?
Yeah,
Not 100% sure, but it seems like the wire came loose somehow overnight.
Like the HDMI or the power?
Which has never happened.
I mean,
So I'm totally confused.
you don't happen to have any. Well, it's in the setup where your stuff would be. So your pets, if you had any, wouldn't be
I
there.
don't have any pets.
You don't have any pets, okay.
There's no vibrations around.
No vibrations around. Okay, I was thinking like any vibrations like from pets or anything could have knocked. Yeah, no, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't know. Cheers, Draft By. Hope you're
Like
doing good, man.
I'm pretty damn logical. I'm really good at fucking figuring shit out, and I'm baffled. It's like, what the
It's
fuck?
like what the. As if somebody
And then
who's
I was
worked in
sitting
IT
here-
for like 10+ years.
I was sitting here using it, and it blinked out again, and it's like, the fuck? I checked the wire. It's fucking loose again. It's like, how? Is there fucking
Why?
a ghost fucking with me or something?
Yeah, Techno Ghost is fucking with your shit.
I mean, I've had my own paranormal experiences, so I'm not going to say anything that they don't.
I've been living the apartment below me. I was living over a dead guy for a week.
Oh, dang.
That's spicy.
There's been 3 different deaths in the building, all natural causes.
Oh, wow.
But still kind of tragic
Yeah.
into things. Like that guy down below me. The only reason why there was attention brought to it is because I
Because of
could
the
hear his
smell.
cat howling.
Oh, cat howling. The smell didn't even. Oh.
It was in the winter and nobody could
Oh,
smell
yep.
anything on that first floor. He's
Yep.
right beside the laundry room, and the
Oh.
person on the other side wouldn't have smelled anything.
It's
But
right beside the
we
laundry,
could hear
yeah.
his cat howling.
Oh,
And we
and
had
the
cats
cat
at
doesn't
the
normally-
time, and our cats were frigging like going all squirrely whenever they heard it fucking meowing. So I knew there was something wrong.
Yeah, because
And
cats
I
don't react
fucking-
like that normally. Yeah.
I asked downstairs neighbors, like, hey, has anybody seen this guy? And it was right
Yeah.
around Christmas time, and they're like, oh, as far as we know, he went to his friggin' relatives. It's
Yeah.
like, well, he's got a cat in there howling. Does anybody on this fucking first floor hear that? No.
Yeah.
I'm above them, and I'm fucking hearing this thing all
Yeah.
hours of the day and night. Finally, I got a
Ooh.
hold of the landlord. I said, yeah, you guys got to check on this guy. You got to check on his apartment. There's a cat in there howling. Nobody's seen the guy. You might want to
Yeah.
check it.
Yep.
They got the cops in there. The cops just barely cracked open the door, and the smell just,
They hit them, and they were like, "Yep, instant."
they're like, yeah, there's a deceased body in there.
And unfortunately, I've come across things like that myself. Not, unfortunately, it was overdoses in my local area. You will walk by trails and you just come across it. It's an unfortunate thing. But that smell is unmistakable.
Oh, I've smelled dead many, many times.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
it is one of those unmistakable smells. And unfortunately, it's one we're currently dealing with in my apartment because there's a dead animal somewhere in the wall and the landlord's refusing to fucking take care of it.
Oh
They sent
no!
maintenance to come check the wall, which is the wall that's one side of the wall is in my bedroom, the other side's outside in the hallway by the stairwell. And that one, all they did to check it was just knock on the wall like this and say, "There doesn't seem to be anything in there blocking it." I'm like, we have mice problems. It could be a mouse.
Yeah. I don't know how they know just from knocking. I mean, that's horseshit.
Yeah,
You don't really know from that.
Damn, did I smoke
you
all my
don't.
joints?
You just have to ideally, like the easiest thing, probably the most effective and easiest way you could go about that. Oh, hang on one sec, guys. Sorry.
Well, damn. A lot of joints.
I think I'm gonna do a blinker challenge real quick because why not?
I'll join you.
Okay.
I barely
So
got anything. I think that thing's almost dead. Hold on. I have another one somewhere.
I have to go pick up my wife. So I'll be right back. Do you guys think you can handle the stream for a little bit?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll be back in like probably less than 10 minutes.
No worries. My computer's back up and running, so I'll open up the chat.
Ooh. Doing a blunger off the jungle fruit is rough.
It would help if I spelled YouTube correctly, but then again, I'm blind without my glasses, which are actually right here. Hold on.
See that name down there?
What was that?
I see that name down there, Blind Neil. I really am.
Yeah. Oh, I can't use the live in this specific browser because the chat with live chat doesn't show up. I have to use Firefox
Ah, shit.
because I was trying to use it in the browser that I built, but the browser I built was just built for audio and video pass-through for webcam for our Discord. I built it in Python, so it has severe limitations. I used libraries that are no longer actively maintained and haven't been for years because it was
Nice.
the easiest way to do it. And I'm just like, All I want is a simple web browser with a search bar and use the Google search engine, and that can go to discord.com and have a microphone and webcam pass-through. That's all I want. Because the Discord desktop app uses way too much system resources in my thing and lags my games. Then all my web browsers
Yeah,
use a certain
I've
amount of-
noticed that myself.
Yeah, the web
I've
browser
noticed
also
that when it's launched, it fucking slows shit down.
it
I
does.
got a fucking decent computer here,
I do too.
and
See,
it
I'm
still
running.
slows shit down.
See, I have a 3060 Super in it, and my computer. I have a really good CPU. I have 64 gigs of RAM, so I shouldn't have any issues running it. But it slows down everything else.
I think the graphics card I have is a NVIDIA. I think it was called a K2200. When I actually looked it up, for the price that I paid for the computer, that card should have been fucking 3/4 the price.
K2200 NVIDIA. I'm looking off of NVIDIA's K2000 series.
It's an older
Average-
card.
It's an older card right now. I'm looking at a refurbed one on Amazon for 115. Certified
I
refurbed
paid
on
like
Amazon for
400 for
115.
the, and I got
Um,
it. I got the computer new. What was
Wow.
it? 4 or 5 years ago.
Wow. And the thing is this one is still. what
I have a
people
Dell
don't
server
realize is-
tower.
Yeah, they look at it and they say, "Oh, hey, it has like a DVI connection. It must be super old and not compatible." From what I'm seeing with the specs, support for all the latest QS6 features. It supports all the latest NVIDIA features, except for ray tracing.
Yeah, it's a fucking sweet card.
It's an
It's got
amazing card for a budget card.
Three
Oh.
or four outputs up to 4K.
Yeah,
Like
like
it's
a
fucking
decent
surprising.
budget card
It's surprising how good the little fucker is.
for a card that price. That is ridiculously good. I'm
And the
sitting
thing
over.
is people wouldn't be looking for something like this because they're thinking like, oh, cheap, it's not going to be any good.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
this
you
thing
gotta
came
look
with-
at the actual specs and compare it to the specs that are already in your build and see what would work best.
Well, this
Hey.
is a Dell server tower that I picked up. I think
Yeah, you
it was
mentioned
like
that.
5. I think it was either 2000 or 2020, I think that was when I got
Yeah.
it.
And the thing is, what
And-
people don't realize is these old server towers, they have a lot of internal room for upgradability.
Oh, fuck yeah. Like, it's a huge tower. I got
It
enough
is
room for like
huge,
4
yeah.
fucking hard drives in it. I got room for fucking another video card if I wanted.
Yep. That's why people don't realize is people are like, hey, why are you like the old swap shack at the Lisbon transfer station I used to go to? People bring old dead computers there. They're like, they're dead. They look like they're from like the 2000 era. And I'm like, why do you want them? I'm like, you see how big the tower is. As someone who builds
That
computers,
tower
I can
can
build a nice
lot of shit.
piece inside that thing. And that saves me a lot of money on like a huge tower too, because some of those cost a lot of money for shipping.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It
when I was younger, I first got into computers way back in the 80s, early 80s. My friend, his parents were pretty well off. Dad was in the computer field, that type of shit. They had an IBM, they had a TRS-80.
Oh,
I got
wow.
into the computers watching that shit back then. By the time 82, it was 1982, my mother bought me a TRS-80 color computer too.
Oh my gosh. I got to play around with one of those in my biology teacher's lab in high school. Not only did she have one of those, but she had a fully functional Apple IIe computer as well.
The Apple IIe had 4 times the memory of the
I know.
fucking TRS-80. My
It was
TRS-80 had 16K of memory.
Kilobytes. of
No
memory,
storage.
right? No, st-
No storage. I had to save on tape.
Yeah. Yep. And for those who are my age, in the early 20s, stuff like that, They might not even be old enough to remember floppy disks. However, my mom, as an attorney, was still using them up until 2008.
Like this thing didn't even have floppy drive. It had a cassette, like, or not a
An
cassette,
actual
but
cassette?
it
Oh,
had
wow.
a fucking spot to fucking plug in the game cartridges.
Oh,
But
wow.
then you had to have wires going out from the back of it into a normal tape recorder. You know, the little
Dang.
tape recorders.
Little tape recorder cassette
Fucking-
ones, yep.
Yep. Fucking hit record. You fucking save your shit. It would save it to the actual tape.
Yep. It's funny to me because people. One time I was in the hospital I was in the ER getting like a fish hook that I got in the bottom of my foot, a rusty fish hook taken out in a tetanus shot. That was fun. I was like 13 years old at the time, and I was like, I heard a noise. And I'm like, did I just hear someone using dial-up? They're like, aren't you a little young to know what dial-up is? And I'm like, no, not really, considering when I started using the internet back in the day, we couldn't afford broadband. We used dial-up because it was the cheapest in my area.
Yeah. The
they're
first
like-
dial-up that we used
Yeah.
back when I was a kid, that I hooked the fucking TRS-80 up to,
Oh my god.
400 baud modem. 400 baud. Like, that's not even a kilobyte a second. That's
No,
like a
it's not.
kilobyte a minute.
So I forget. There's this thing called Alistair, and it was released by Microsoft on Microsoft's, I think, 50th birthday, and it's the original source code to the original operating system that was Windows before Windows was a thing. And it's less than I think it's less than 300 megabytes in size total.
Oh, I can believe it.
Like the entire thing is ridiculously tiny. And I downloaded the source code and it's available on GitHub. And I'm like, wait, they released it? And I'm like, yes. But it has no real world use case nowadays. Like you can't even spin it up in a virtual machine either. But it is fun to play around with and look into how it works.
If I can remember how to turn this fucking tablet on.
Alistair, Microsoft, GitHub. I think that's what it's called. I may be wrong on that. Don't quote me on that. Oh, Alistar, I think. Yeah, Microsoft. Geez, they have over 6,000 active repositories that are. Geez. Oh, that's what I was needed to do. I needed to download Power Toys releases.
I think this tablet is dead because it does not want to charge no more. Son of a bitch. That sucks.
I kind of forgot that they have ARM-based processors for Windows machines now. Not surprising though, considering Raspberry Pis can run a dumbed-down version of Windows 11.
Raspberry Pi's come quite a long way.
Yeah, they have. I have the Raspberry
Amazing
Pi
little
4.
units.
The first Raspberry Pi I ever got was the Raspberry Pi Pico. The little one without like any, it's just like a little circuit board, no place for a monitor or anything like that. It's remote
Yeah.
SSH only. Then I got the Raspberry Pi 3 Model B. Then I got the Raspberry Pi 4. And then I got the Raspberry Pi 400, which is the Raspberry Pi 4, but baked into a keyboard. You just plug a monitor and a mouse into it, and it's fully functional. And I use them for various projects. One of them I have set up to run something called Cloudflare Tunnels, which uses the Cloudflare secure tunnel system. So have you heard of Cloudflare before?
I think so.
They are a company that secures most of the internet. For example, those captures you see, or those things that saying, checking your connection or whatever with the little cloud symbol, which you wouldn't see.
Oh, yep.
But yeah, I would say checking your connection and whatnot, stuff like that. It routes it through secure stuff. It allows me to open up my internal servers for remote access anywhere in the world, but it's so secure that it uses their secure system. What they use is a huge wall of lava lamps that are constantly bouncing around and changing the encryption key because they take pictures every couple of seconds.
Yeah.
And it randomizes it. And they actually encourage people to come in and interact with these lava lamps because the more you interact with it, the more random their encryption key gets.
Nice.
So they actually encourage you to come in and mess with these lava lamps. And it's pretty wild. I use it for DDoS protection against my website because I have people, probably automatic bots, part of a botnet that's trying to knock down random websites. And then again, I have bots that try to scrape websites to train AI data and stuff like that. And I have to block that because it uses up all my AWS server space.
And I think that's partially why friggin' a lot of the TTSs are having problems now is because of those scrapers. Because YouTube put out a part of their TOS that if you're caught scraping, that there's a chance that you're gonna fucking lose your shit.
Yeah, they did. Which
is kind of bullshit because they just fucked all the people that are disabled.
Yeah, because the whole TTS thing that I was building in a mix, I wasn't just using Python. I was using Python, Golang, and C++. Now I have to abandon the project because if I link it to my developer API like I need to get these TTS to work, I risk my whole developer account connected to my main channel being terminated. So
now, have you checked that other company or that other app I was talking about?
I have an
NVDA.
I can develop for it. The downside is I need way more. I have a 1 gigabyte of internal space left on my main drive on my computer, and about 25 gigs left of drive space on all my other drives. I'm setting up my other NAS server later on, so I think this weekend.
Nice.
Which will allow me to develop further because that will give me an additional, I think, 20-ish terabytes worth of storage. It's in a RAID configuration, so if any two of the drives, it has 4 drives total, so if any 2 of the drives fail at any given time, I can just slap 2 new drives in there and it rebuilds all the data back.
Nice.
Yep. And this server was manufactured in 2016. And it has less than a gig of RAM, and it can run. It's currently, when I was at my parents' house, it was hosting 15 WordPress websites, 3 static websites with Apache, hosting virtual machines, a Plex server, a Jellyfin Media server, among other things, all at once, and using under 200 megabytes of RAM out of the, I think, 800 that are usable. So it's by Synology. Now, do I recommend them anymore? No. They just made a corporation killing move, in my opinion. They did an HP move. The newer servers now are going to be required that you use their specific brand drives, which cost an absurd amount of money. And if you do not use their brand drives, you use access to a lot of features, including automatic firmware updates, among other things.
That's bullshit.
Yeah. However, older servers like mine are not going to be affected because they don't have the part inside needed to be able to run this code that requires it to check. So I'm safe, which is why I'm never going to upgrade to their newest shit. I'm going to go to a different NAS route.
It's one thing I'm kind of glad about with my vision.
Yeah.
I know that this tower can be upgraded to Windows 11.
Yes.
If I go into the BIOS and turn on that little fucking thing.
Oh, the TPM, yes.
But because of my vision,
You can't hear anything.
I can't see to go in there to do it anymore.
Yeah, no.
Here,
Unfortunately, there are
Why?
no like.
Because it's funny.
There are no easy.
It's
Why
funny
is it
bit.
funny?
It's totally a funny bit.
It's funny.
Yeah, because I have this this wireless headset,
I just want to be able to hear.
and now
like
there's
a
just
normal
like
person.
this. Today is brought to you by the letter U.
Hi guys.
Hi, how are you?
How you doing, Bronwyn?
Not too bad. Not too bad. How's your morning going?
It's going okay now. Much better now that I've smoked a little bit. And now
Always
realizing that I'm gonna have
tends to go
to-
that way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to walk to the bus stop later today in the rain, wait for the bus, the public bus, and then go to my my sister's house where I'm buying a bong off of her, and I'm buying an Xbox Series S off of her.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
fucking sick, man! That's
Yeah.
awesome.
She knows that I'm a little tight on money, like budget wise, so she's offered to do a payment plan with me. I'm paying her $100 for the bong and $100 for the Xbox total, and I'm doing it in $50 installments.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Very nice.
And here's the thing: she's allowing me to do that because she knows I'll pay her. Like I have a history with her where I do payment plans, and I paid her back, and then I paid her back plus interest. She's like, I don't need this extra interest, and I'm like, I know you're a few dollars short on rent. Take the money.
Mhm.
She helps me out every so often too. She comes over. She'll be like, "Hey, I know you don't have much food. Here's a bunch of fucking food that we're not gonna eat. Have at it."
Helping each other. That's what it's about.
Exactly.
At least, like, I don't even talk to my siblings. So having siblings that you have a good relationship is definitely
Well,
a
she's
blessing for sure.
legally she's not my sister. She was unofficially but not legally adopted by my adoptive parents. So we just consider
she's
her
your
family
sister.
at this point.
Yeah.
She's my
She's
sister.
your
She's
sister.
family
I'd
at
say
this
she's your
point.
sister. Yeah.
For all
Family's not all
purposes' sake,
blood.
When she showed up at the hospital for me after I fucking bashed my face into a garage door, she's like, "Are you?" They were like, "Are you immediate family?" She's like, "I'm his sister." They're like, "Okay, come on back." They didn't even question it. We looked nothing alike. But that's nothing because in my records at the hospital, that's the same hospital I was born at, it shows that I was adopted. So
Yeah.
for all they know, it's my adoptive sister.
Cheers.
My brothers and I don't look alike. We're half siblings, and they're much older than I am. But at one point, there's this company where we're from where like almost everybody that works in customer service works at this company at some point. He worked there.
Oh, wow.
I worked there. My brother worked there. A couple of his best friends worked there. Like everybody worked there.
Yeah.
We didn't actually meet each other when we worked there. We worked there at different times. But he knew my brother before he knew me. My brother was on this special team that I had actually applied for. It was I think it was a territory analyst position. I think that was the job title. And I didn't get the job because my brother was on the team.
Oh, really?
And they specifically told me this. They said that they felt like because we were siblings that we would gang up and like hold more weight on the team. And I literally looked at the guy and I was like, have you met us? Like, we share nothing in common but a father. Like we don't have the same opinions on things. Like,
yeah.
What just because we're siblings, that does not mean that I'm going to agree with him on everything. This motherfucker's dumb. You know, I didn't say that, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Like seriously, like
that's a really, really horrible assumption to make about a person. I feel like.
I mean, yes, it is, and I mean, I can see both sides of it because I have seen that scenario play out in when I did retail and customer service kind of thing in my area. I've seen it happen, but it's like very rare that it does because we hired so many pairs of siblings at my time doing retail and customer service, and over like the 6 years that I did retail, we only had one instance of that. Yeah. And that was the only instance between the entire corporation chain in our state.
And like, there's a stereotype of siblings fighting, right?
Yeah, but not exactly. The stereotype is that they fight, like, they don't agree.
Exactly. So why would you go with the assumption that we would agree on everything? Siblings fight. That's what we do.
Even my brother, my little brother, he's my half brother, same birth mom, two different dads, kind of thing. But the same adoptive mom. You know, when she adopted me, and my birth mom saw how good she was doing with me. When she found out she was pregnant with my little brother, she reached out to my adoptive mom and said, "Hey, I'm pregnant again. I know I can't take care of this kid with my current addiction issues. Will you adopt him right away?" And the moment he was born, they had the papers were signed. And I got to feed him in the hospital. Yep, I got to feed him in the hospital. I still remember holding him and feeding him.
Siblings can stay together through hardship like that. That's great to hear.
Unfortunately, my little sister, who was my half sister, was adopted by another family. She ended up, there was a whole situation I'm not going to get into, but point is she was awarded custody of the state when she was 12 due to an incident where she unfortunately went through a horrible trauma and then tried to take her own life because of it. And because of adoption laws, I'm not legally allowed to reach out till she turns 18. And she turns 18 this coming December 28th, which is when I plan to do that. And I have already paid somebody to dig, because her name was changed, her last name and all that. I paid somebody to dig into the background to find her info. By
Good
paid,
for
I mean
you.
I paid my adoptive mom, who happens to be a lawyer and can gain access to the information legally.
I hope everything works out.
Thank you.
I
And the
really
thing
do.
is, you know, she was by the parent she was adopted by, she was told lies about my birth mom about how she didn't want her. The thing is my birth mom, it broke her to have to give any of her kids up. But with her addiction issues, she wasn't willing to put her kids through that.
Well, and that's the thing too, is a lot of people don't like. A lot of people have this like, oh, if you don't want kids or you can't take care of kids, you just shouldn't have kids. Like that's not an appropriate stance in
No, 'cause
today's
here's the thing.
climate. You know what I
It's
mean?
not
Like
always like a situation.
it's not
where
always a
it happened.
choice.
It's not always a choice. Horrible things happen in today's society, and I'm a product of one of those things, and I'm only alive because of that.
Mhm.
And
I
it's
mean,
sad
not
to
even
say, but
not even necessarily horrible things either. Sometimes just perfectly normal things with no real explanation. Like I know a woman that got pregnant 3 times on 2 different forms of birth control
my sister,
and condoms. Like, you know
my
what I mean?
adoptive
Shit
sisters.
happens.
One of my official adoptive sister, right? When we first found out she was pregnant with my first nephew, we were all shocked. We're like, "Aren't you on birth control?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm on. We used condoms, and I'm on the fucking the shot." And then she switched forms to the pill, got pregnant again, but miscarried, and then ended up having a daughter recently because her birth control failed again. And it's like it's not even just her fault. She's on it, and she's using condoms, and they both failed. It's like accidents.
Everybody's different. Everybody's body is different,
Everybody's
and every
different,
situation
accidents
does not
happen.
fit every person.
Yeah, no, and
That's
accidents
just
happen.
as simple as this. That's just as simple as that.
Like I know,
But yeah, I know. We probably shouldn't get too deep into this.
Yeah, probably.
I
Not,
totally forgot. Second, we're not even on our channel. I thought we were on our channel for a second. We're not.
Yeah, my bad. But yeah, yeah, no, it's insane.
But I really hope
note,
things work out for you and all of your siblings.
Thank
and
you.
That you guys
yeah.
all get to have a good relationship with one another.
Thank you. Yeah. One of my favorite things that I'm planning to do coming up soon is I'm hoping to get into volunteering again, specifically with an animal shelter near me.
Oh, nice.
Because I
know animal shelters specifically are always looking for help.
Exactly, especially in my area where there's a huge issue with strays. And there's not enough, their shelters are overrun, stuff like that, and there's not enough volunteers to help take care of them and give them walks and stuff like that, like they need to play with them, that kind of stuff. And you know, it's not all about just taking care of them by feeding them, that kind of stuff. We need to entertain them, make them happy, so that they're not suffering while they're waiting to be adopted.
Yeah, you need to give them attention.
Yeah, exactly. And back when I was in school, one of my classes was JMG, Jobs for Maine Graduates. There's another thing called JAG, Jobs for American Graduates. Basically, it's the whole leadership thing. You also learn a bunch of stuff like managing a checkbook. You
Up
also
here in Canada, to get out of high school, you need to have volunteered at least 40 hours of time.
I wish that was
in the workforce.
Yeah, I wish that was a requirement here in the United States, because my mom was involved with the school district volunteering for and organizing school fundraisers and stuff like that as when I was a kid, and she directly involved me and told me what to do, and I was handing out orders and stuff like that. Like I was volunteering because she made it a requirement for me. And I fell in love with it.
It is a requirement in some states. In New York,
Really?
you do have to do community service in order to graduate. I was on a volleyball team, so I did like bake sales and stuff that counted as my community service. You also had to do, I don't know if it was necessarily statewide or our district or what, but you had to do community service in order to graduate 8th grade too.
Wow. Yeah, I wish that was a requirement here in Maine specifically, because we have a whole host of organizations that are nonprofits that benefit our local communities, like food banks, soup kitchens, homeless shelters that hand out blankets and hot meals and even pet supplies. Because you know,
I was sorry. I was just gonna say, I'm part of a union, and we're required to do community service as part of our union requirement. We have to do two acts of community service per year.
Yeah, and I know the thing is, continue to do acts of community service. And I don't do it because I expect anything in return. I do it because I enjoy it. I find enjoyment out of helping people and, you know, lifting their spirits up in some way. And I think that's based on how I was raised. You know, I was always taught to help out from the very beginning, and by doing that, I got to see people's day improve, and that just improved my day in return. And it sounds so cliche, but it's true. I found a lot of self-fulfillment in helping people.
Absolutely. It definitely it changes you a little bit when you know that you're able to help somebody. It changes how you feel about yourself. Like
it does. And that's
I'm not gonna necessarily like tout people. I have mixed feelings about like performative acts of charity or community service. You know what I mean? Like you don't need to post to the entire internet that you gave a homeless man a cheeseburger. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
no.
Especially don't put people on the spot like that. But at the same time, if it brings awareness to the small ways in which you can help people, you know what I mean? I'm like, that's also not a bad thing, you know?
Like I'm not going to post every little thing that I do, but I may say, hey, you know, this specific charity organization that's local to my area is now able to help this specific set of group of people with whatever disability they may have, based on whatever accessibility options they may have. If you or somebody you know needs help with that kind of stuff, reach out to me and I can give you the direct contact information for them. And I send pictures of their location, stuff like that. It's to raise money for local things that can help people. It's not to stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, it's not to like boost your own or flex or anything like that. It's to actually get more people involved.
I don't post it solely on my feed. I post it in like the local community page on Facebook. So everyone can see it.
Ricky, can we lose the headphones? They're driving me nuts. GamPro. We have very different size ears, so his headphones do not fit me, and they're constantly falling out.
I get it. When I was younger, my the doctors told my mom
one of the reasons
will be shaped
why
like
I'm
curved
doing
like
the
this.
headphones.
My ears are pretty much curved from the rest of my head. And the doctor told my adoptive parents, you can tape his ears back and they would be normal. But I kept peeling the tape off. Mom said, I'm not going to fight him on this. And I'm glad she didn't, because the cool thing is now is when there's a high-pitched noise that nobody else can identify where it's coming from, I can easily locate it.
There's reasons why ears are shaped the way they are.
The way mine are shaped and curved, it kind of like reverberates back with higher pitched noise more so than lower pitched noise.
Is that also a disadvantage though too?
It is also a disadvantage because if I ever go to air shows or concerts, I need 2 forms of ear protection. I quite literally put in earplugs and earmuffs on top when I go to rock concerts or anything like that, because I don't. My last concert that I went to was Imagine Dragons, and that was in Maine, and I did not go back. No, I got my girlfriend for her birthday. We got front row tickets. And the only reason I was able to get front row tickets was because my best friend from high school, his uncle was a manager backstage at the Waterfront Pavilion in Bangor where the event was taking place. So I got a discount on the fucking tickets.
That's pretty sick.
He no longer works there. He was a temp worker there, but he was like, hey, and he got to meet with the band. The band was all chill and stuff like that. And I got like, I think it was like, $100 off between the 4 tickets that I got. And on the ticket discount, it said family and friends discount. So I don't know how he managed to swing that, but I just said, hey, I'm going to go to this concert. And he said, do you buy your tickets yet? And I said, no. He's like, don't until I send you a code. And I'm like, I don't know what this means. And then I got shocked when he showed up at the thing and it was like, hey, this is this. And I'm like, hey. Ooh, nice.
Possible sign of life. They seem to be hanging from the ceiling, suspended in animation.
That is awesome.
That's great.
Can we get rid of the headphones so seriously?
Of the headphones? Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's ladies hanging.
Some of those buds look hella hefty.
I'm hoping they are. Once they're all
Damn.
dry.
Once it's all dry and said and done and trimmed, yeah, but damn, those look nice.
Of course, I won't be trimming it as. Oh, I had my friggin' green screen on the whole time too. Hopefully, that didn't fuck it up too much.
No, not too much. I was able to see quite a bit.
It was mostly black and then weed.
It was all black and then just straight weed came into vision, yeah. Seriously, after one smoke sesh, it's that dirty? Oh, I'm not using the filtered water. I'm using the tap water. That's why. We need to get a new filter for our Brita filter. Unfortunately, our water levels are terrible. Our pipes are awful. We did the digital test and it came back borderline lead levels.
Yeah.
So we have to get a 5-stage Brita filter.
Our kids, we have problems with lead in our city too, and our people tested like borderline high. Like and the pediatrician was essentially like the county has a problem with it, but it's to be expected in this area. So just drink bottled water and run the water and do all that shit. So, like we run the water for like 5 minutes before we brush our teeth or boil water or anything like that.
They're fine now, by the way.
They're fine now.
Yeah, the thing is with Maine specifically, where I am in Maine specifically, we have a big issue with arsenic and uranium in the water because of all the granite near us. And it seeps through the granite into the groundwater. So
for us it's just it's an old city, old pipes. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Lewiston, I believe, is one of the oldest cities in Maine, I believe.
I think we just celebrated our second 100th birthday.
Something like that.
I don't remember. There was no real celebration. Like it happened in like February or some shit. You can't do anything in February around here.
Yeah, Lewiston, Maine, the town I'm in, was founded on February 8th,
in the air, and they went right back inside.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surrounded by 5 freshwater lakes.
Yeah.
And over 10,000 within 100 miles.
My dad was always like, because he hated bottled water. He hated bottled water. He hated filtered water. He would just go to the bathroom and fill up a glass and drink it, which to me is so gross. I cannot stand our tap water. I've never been able to drink it.
Yeah, I grew up on a well water, so
I probably prefer well water over.
Well water was fantastic, especially with the reverse osmosis system we had. It tasted better than the spring water you would get bottled at the store.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I'm very particular about water. I can't drink.
It still had like the natural flavor of like well water, of it being groundwater, but it being very like fresh and pure, but still having the necessary minerals in it.
But what was I saying?
I don't know.
You were saying you're very particular about your water.
Well, I'm very particular, but I was telling you. Just continue. I'll think of it eventually, or I won't. Not a big deal.
So you're using StreamYard, and apparently with StreamYard, from what I'm seeing, you can create an animated background, and that looks like an 8-bit background. Pretty cool.
He created it to look like an 8-bit background.
So it's modified from the original. Yeah. Because I was gonna say, I remember playing 8-bit games back in the day. That was fun. The first game that I ever played, I think, was, funny enough, it was Pong. It was a web browser-based version of Pong, though. My friend has one of the original Atari systems. His dad helped him fix it and all that, because his dad apparently works in IT. And his dad was like, hey, they don't make these parts anymore, but with the parts we can order custom online, we can order custom PCBs to fix this shit. And I'm like, so I went over to his house. He has full arcade room and shit. And I'm like, wasn't this your home office at one point? And he's like, Yeah, but my dad works out of an actual office building now, so we turned the home office into a home arcade for family game night.
Nice.
And I'm like, where'd you get all these old arcade machines? Like, this was what was in our storage unit that we were paying an absurd amount of money for. So now we don't have to pay money for that storage unit anymore. And I'm like, oh, so your dad's been collecting this for a long time. He's like,
His dad was an old school gamer, and he
was,
forget
yeah.
the game.
And I'm sitting here like, so this is what your dad has been hiding out on all these years when he's been rolling his eyes at like our today games. And I've been sitting there like, he's hiding something all these years. And lo and behold, I walk in one day for a game night, and I'm like, okay, there's Street Fighter. I'm happy.
I had hoped to save my my old Super Nintendo from when I was a kid for when growing up, but it died like 10 years ago, something like that, maybe 8 years ago, and I got rid of it eventually. But that was the only game we had in my house. My parents were very much like, "Oh, we have a game system. You don't need a new game system." So we had a Super Nintendo, and only a Super Nintendo my entire childhood. Like I literally played Lion King and Aladdin for 25 years.
Like my entire childhood, we had an it was originally a Windows XP computer that my mom got refurbished from her workplace. And when that finally died, we got a Windows 7 based computer, and whatever games came pre-installed on it, we were able to play, or whatever web games we were able to play, stuff like that for free. And if we wanted a game, we had to save up our allowance money and hand that to our mom, who would then take that, put it in her account, and then use that to pay for the game.
Okay.
It taught us to save up money for the games that we wanted and to prioritize what we wanted first. It was kind of funny because we were like, do we really want this game, or do we want the software that would actually help us and aid us in, you know, making things better on the computer? So we had to pick and choose the want versus need.
We got our first computer when I was 10, and it ran Windows 98. And the only games I played were Solitaire and Minesweeper. And then eventually Sims. I was a big fan of The Sims. Yep. And my only real like online like web browser game was Pop It. I don't know if anybody remember that. It was a Yahoo game. We had to pop balloons to win prizes.
Familiar.
I played that for hours. It was a very limited scope, but it was intense.
Yeah, I think there was this website called, what was it called? It was called I forget what it was called. It was something Sandbox, but it was physics based. It was like a Flash game, and you had like different elements, like you had fire, you had magma, stuff like this. It was called Powder Game 2. Powder Game 2. And it's like a physics based game. You can create whole wind tunnels, turbines, shit like that, and you can actually show where the wind is blowing and based on graphs and stuff. It's really interesting.
Like
that got me into science and stuff like that, where I ended up taking an AP physics class in high school. I mean, I failed because I got just under a passing grade.
Yeah.
But I wanted to challenge myself. They're like, you can do the normal class, or you can challenge yourself and do an AP class, and whether you fail or not, as long as you complete half of it, you gain a credit. And I'm like, deal. Challenge myself, why not?
I almost failed physics in high school because our teacher did not know what he was doing. Like, and to this day, I don't understand. I don't know if he legitimately did not know physics and somehow became a physics teacher, or if he was just a really bad teacher. But he insisted we write every problem out in pen. We weren't allowed to use pencil.
What?
But then he would constantly make mistakes while he was explaining. So it would, like, a physics problem is a long problem. It would usually take a page to work out a physics problem. Yeah. We would take 5 pages because he would constantly make mistakes and then go back and correct himself, and then eventually give up and then just ask the person who got the highest score on the test to figure it out for him.
That's
when I got to college, actually up for the physics position in college, and I had to like submit an anonymous note and be like, do not hire this guy. He cannot teach. I had to volunteer.
Here's everybody in the chats.
I had to volunteer.
Kind of ignoring them out there.
Sorry about that. Cheers, everybody.
Much love, everybody. I'm gonna dip out.
Good to
Take
see
care,
you,
everybody.
Have a good
Yeah,
day.
I'm probably gonna do one more rip, and then I'm probably gonna dip out as well because I've done more than a rip and dip.
Yeah, we're probably gonna wrap the stream up soon because Trey's gonna be gearing up to doing his normal thing in just a couple hours. I just figured I'd do a little tiny, East Coast I Love Weed Live
Morning sesh.
Morning sesh. Like it's still the morning, but it's the morning sesh before the morning sesh. It's like yes,
Exactly.
we've had.
Yeah.
But what about
The
second morning sesh?
Yeah, this is the East Coast morning sesh.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
there's the West Coast morning
Yeah,
sesh.
exactly.
I had
It's
class.
kind of funny because I'm just now realizing that the reason I was stopped by Border Patrol when I went up to I think it was it Machias, Maine? I think it was near there or somewhere, but it was right on the border apparently of Canada, and I didn't realize how close to the border it actually was until I saw people Border Patrol agents, and I was walking down the road, and they had a dog, and they're like, "Hi," and they said U.S. Border Patrol. I'm like, "How close to the border am I?" They're like, "You're another couple miles away." But this is just kind of a check. I'm like, oh, thank God I didn't cross unintentionally. Because
I would have been a little bit of grace.
I was just going for a walk from a friend's house, a long ass walk. I didn't have any ID on me. I had no identification.
So I got a little bit of a story. When I was 12 or so, my parents were on this local bar's softball team. They played softball, and they would take me with them to the games. Sometimes I would actually play because they didn't have enough girls, so they would sign me up as the designated hitter. I don't know how the hell they got away with it. I was 12, but there was this one guy on their team who had a motorcycle, and he was from Canada, so he didn't visit very often. But I love motorcycles. Ever since I was a kid, I've loved motorcycles. And I finally convinced him and my parents to let him take me for a ride on the motorcycle. We're right near the border.
Oh boy.
Near the border. And he made a wrong turn and accidentally ended up at the Peace Bridge with a 12-year-old girl who was not his on a motorcycle headed for Canada. And they were essentially just... to this day, I still cannot believe I didn't get stopped there, but he was just like, I took a wrong turn. I was giving her a ride on my motorcycle. Her parents are back at so-and-so. And they were just, all right, have a nice day.
They didn't question it. Nowadays, they would obviously question it because
nowadays, I'd probably still be there answering questions.
Yeah. Had I walked up to those Border Patrol agents nowadays, it would have been Interrogation Central.
Absolutely.
So
a couple years later, actually, I was probably about 14 or 15. I went to Canada with my brothers, because again, they're much older than me, with a note from my parents and my birth certificate and all of this shit. And they still sat us down for 2 hours, made sure our story was straight. And
well, yeah. Unfortunately, if they were nowadays, I'm not going to go into detail, but you know what I'm talking about. Horrible situations happen all too often. And the thing is that if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, acts like a duck, it's probably a duck. So, but then again, they're doing their due diligence to make sure there's
a lot of nuance.
There's a lot of different things that go into it nowadays. It's just as simple as one thing being the reason why. There's so many reasons. One thing that I'm actually really happy to see that's been happening recently in my area is there's been a big push for vending machines where you just go to the vending machine, you press a certain button here or there, and there are options for visually impaired people. Where it's completely free. The vending machine is free. You just go to the vending machine, press a button, whatnot, and it dispenses a Narcan that you can carry with you for free. And there's a big initiative to get those down here where there's a huge problem, and Because I mean, you can get Narcan for free at the local police department, but people are too afraid to go and act.
I know that in our area, I can't say I've ever seen like a Narcan vending machine. But we have a lot of people that do like free libraries in their front yards. A lot of them put Narcan in their free libraries. A lot of our like food pantries and stuff like that give out Narcan.
Like the hospitals, urgent cares near here, hell, even the primary care offices. Well, if you ask for Narcan, they'll just hand you Narcan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely. Oh, there's a little bit of my omelet left. If you wanted it.
The thing about Narcan is, it's sad that we need it, but at the same time, I would rather have it and save someone's life than watch someone die right next to me.
Oh, especially considering like there's so many ways that you could end up, at this point now. There's so many ways that you could end up overdosing without
exactly. Like my friend who I mentioned that passed away from an overdose like a couple months ago. He was smoking weed that he bought from someone locally that ended up being laced with fentanyl. And that's how he died.
Oh, God.
Not because he was doing anything illegal, but because he smoked laced weed that he didn't know was laced.
A friend of mine's son died of, we prefer to say acute fentanyl poisoning instead of overdose. But he got a Xanax.
Yep.
It was during COVID. He was a traveling musician, and he was over being cooped up in the house, essentially, and he got a Xanax from a person that he trusted and never woke up. So,
and
like...
the thing is, even if you get it from somebody you trust, you may not know where that person you trust got it from.
Exactly.
And the thing is, it's so easy to get accidentally overdosed by something you didn't know was cut with something. And that's why
people had the possibility of being cut by something.
Exactly.
Like I always assumed that hearing weed laced with fentanyl was like an urban legend that people used to try to scare us.
I thought it was too until it happened to one of my friends, and I'm like, who would do that?
It's like hearing that people are giving out weed gummies on Halloween. Like no one's giving your kid weed gummies. Like.
But there were instances of people in horrible people in Maine. At I'm not going to say what location, but at certain locations of supermarkets, trying to hand out gummies to kids who never ended up taking any. But when the cops came and were involved, when they tested the gummies, they had small doses of GHB and fentanyl
in them. What?
Yeah, but it was they were sentenced to life and all that. But the news articles were pulled after a defamation suit. It's like, why sweep that shit underneath the rug? People need to know that these things exist, and it's not just urban myth. Because you don't know how kids are going to get dosed. You want them to be vigilant and say, hey, don't take candy from this because, or so-and-so, if you don't know them specifically, and your parents don't say it's okay, because this shit does happen. And it's unfortunate. It shouldn't have to. Question the ability to burn fentanyl and get an effect. Medically, it cannot cut weed.
What did your friend smoke?
Technically speaking, yes, but it was he also I don't understand. The system, but he also took he didn't just have the weed, he had edibles too, so it could have been any. I don't know. He had edibles, he had a whole bunch of shit that night. He had smoked weed, he had edibles. I think he did this candy bar that said it was microdose of shrooms. So it wasn't just weed, but somewhere along the line, something tested for fentanyl. I don't know if there was what they tested, but Tox report shows fentanyl poisoning.
Mm-hmm. That's why what Neil said, they spray the buds. That's kind of what I always like.
Yeah, I was thinking like spraying the buds with something like a third-party pesticide they got from someone like that they know, and they didn't know it was laced with fentanyl. Because if it's in this liquid form, if it's in like not a powder form, if it's in a liquid form and it's sprayed on the bud and it soaks into the actual bud, maybe there's a chance, chemically speaking, it can interact. So I wouldn't technically, they're right. I wouldn't blame it on the weed either per se, but that's what the official autopsy report says is laced weed. I don't know how accurate that is with all the shit that he took. because he was that kind
I mean,
of
that's
like
the thing
let's go
is,
party.
if he took a bunch of different kinds of THC, edible gummy, edibles are edibles,
Edibles,
but
yeah.
flower, dabs, whatever, it's all still THC. So it would have come like THC laced
Yeah.
fentanyl.
Fentanyl
So
type thing,
again,
yeah.
you don't know what the actual source was, but it probably came from some form of THC product.
That was laced, yeah.
Assuming, I don't know.
I don't know, but I mean, then again, he did take something that said microdose of shrooms, so it could have been that too. I don't know. But then again, I've had the exact same candy bar that was pictured in the Instagram story he had before his death, and it was legal for me to buy here in the local area. Like, I bought it legally at a shop because it doesn't have psilocybin in it. There's a bunch of other stuff in it that mimics the effects of the happiness effects of that. So it gets around the illegality thing of the psilocybin because it doesn't have any actual psilocybin in it.
I'm about to start buying fentanyl test strips just in case.
I mean, I would too because
I think you can actually get them free through the state. They have commercials about it, but I've never tried.
And the thing is my mom. Here's the thing: she's like, I know sometimes you don't have the money to go to dispo, so you buy weed off of friends who grow and stuff like that. And I'm like, I buy off of friends who grow that I've known since kindergarten, and who quite literally I helped them set up their pots and their grow tent and everything.
Well, and probably not only that, but you're also probably smoking the same weed they would be smoking.
I'm smoking the exact same weed that they smoke too. Yeah, like I will go over and buy buy part of their product that they're smoking and smoke it myself. Yeah. So I know it's safe, and on top of that, my mom's like, here's some test strips.
Oh, you can build up a tolerance to.
Yeah, I could too. Yeah, but at the same time, like I can see the stuff he's putting on it. It's like this stuff for flavor, this stuff with the terps and all that, and then he washes it all out. It's the stuff that I sent to him on Amazon and the stuff I told him to buy.
Mm-hmm.
It's the stuff that was actually recommended to me by the owner of Lisbon Cannabis, one of the actually award-winning cannabis companies here in Maine. They have an award-winning strain called, I think it's called Red Velvet. He won some awards.
I can't keep up with the strains. There's so many fucking strains now.
There's so many, yeah.
Cross strains, and they have weird naming systems, like the way you name like purebred dogs and shit. Like,
yeah, like for example, there was one that I had the other day that was like I've had cheetah piss before, but this was a mixture of cheetah piss and GG4.
Cheetah piss. Like why?
Like why cheetah piss? Why name it cheetah piss?
How does that sound enticing?
It doesn't.
Anyway.
It doesn't. I mean, and then there was one that I did find kind of enticing that sounded really good. It was called Alaskan Thunderfuck.
So like that's funny.
That is funny. And it was a dab cart, and I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Deadhead came in the chat last night. He said, what was it? It was like, Skank Biscuit.
Skank Biscuit? That's a strain?
I told Gary last night to make up a name for the strain that he's smoking. He didn't know what he was smoking. So he made up a name. And then a couple other people threw out some made up names. And Deadhead threw out Skank Biscuit. I was like, holy shit.
Well,
I like Tim Yak's comment. Says the best thing about Maine is Super Troopers. I've never been to Maine. I can't attest to that, but I am a big fan of Super Troopers.
They're not wrong. The whole thing from Maine is the Moxie soda. Either you love it or you hate it. Most people think it tastes like carbonated cough syrup. I happen to enjoy it.
Carbonated
cough syrup.
Cough syrup.
Yeah, they think it tastes nasty. My mom says it's nasty. And then I got on top of during the Moxie festival we have in Lisbon every year, the home of the Moxie. They kind of had fireworks one night, and the ice cream truck guy was having trouble putting something on top. And so I offered to get up on top of the ice cream truck at 13 years old and help him with stuff. I got a box of 12 ice cream sandwiches for free and 6-pack of Moxie for free. And then after that, he's like, "Thank you for helping me because with my back, I would never have been able to do it." And it's like, no worries, man. Like, I kind of enjoy climbing up on things like a monkey. Like you have no, it's like really, it's like you have no idea how much I used to climb tall ass trees in my backyard as a kid and refused to come down as a child. Nope. I got grounded so many times. I got grounded so many times for refusing to come down. They're like, "Dinner's ready." I'm like, "What is it?" They're like, "It's meatloaf," and I'm like, "You cooked it? Did you cook it?" They're like, "No, your sister did," and I'm like, "Stand up here." My sister is a fantastic cook. It took her a while to understand that meatloaf should not be dry as an absolute bone and flake apart.
Yeah, that's a sin against meatloaf.
So one of the best ways I've found to combat the moisture issue is to add peppers.
Yes.
Peppers add a lot of moisture. And instead of breadcrumbs, Ritz crackers.
Ritz crackers, yes.
Because they add that like salty, but also they kind of soak the moisture without getting too soggy.
And if you want to make it thicker and more heartier, cook some like plain white rice and mix that and pack it in there too, and it makes it more filling as well.
I've never tried that. I don't know. I don't think we need the meatloaf to be any more filling than it is. Yeah. It's usually pretty.
Well, me and my roommate, when we make that's how he makes it, and when we make it, we make like a big bunch of it because half of it will, since it's so filling for us, lasts us like an entire week, and we just freeze the other half.
Yeah.
You know what would be cool? What if you made like sushi rice and wrapped the meatloaf like sushi?
That sounds fucking.
Ooh, that sounds good.
That sounds great.
I don't want to try that.
Totally do that.
That would be a good name for Maine based on Louise strain.
Like you gotta make rice, right? And you have to add like sugar and shit to it, but then you have to mix it with a knife, a butter knife, and you have to slowly add like rice wine vinegar while you mix it until it becomes like the perfect stickiness. We had a sushi making party once. It was pretty cool. I like sushi.
That's awesome.
I like making sushi.
What's really funny is I don't like the sushi down here because it's never fresh anything. The freshest sushi I was spoiled when I went to in 2019 before lockdown. It was 2018, 2019. I went to California on vacation with my family, and we stayed at my adoptive mom's dad's house, right? And he took us for our little early birthday present to a 4-star Japanese hibachi-style steakhouse and seafood place. I'm not even going to say the bill because the man said, order whatever you want and do not be shy about it. And I took that to heart. And I got, for Maine lobster that was air expressed over, it was over $1,000.
Damn.
But it was...
How many people?
Best food I've ever had. We had it was me, my little brother, my mom, my sister, and my mom's dad and his wife. So 6 people. So roughly it was close to around, with tip, it was close to around $1,500.
That's almost $300 a person.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's more than most people spend on a wedding per person.
I'm aware, but this man has, I didn't know this at the time, but the guy has a lot of money saved up because he made a lot of smart investments, and he's still, on top of the smart investments he continues to make and reinvest the money he makes again, he still gets a pension from his time in the Navy.
Well, I mean, if you, like, even still, like, after how long?
Granted, he is 92, well, not a pension per se, but he's getting retirement. He is 91 or 92 years old right now. And he still does calculus for fun.
Good for him.
The man is the only reason I was able to pass geometry. Because none of my teachers were willing to sit down with me and help me in a way that I could understand it, because I learned differently from the other students.
Yeah.
So...
Not everyone
he was able to sit down, like, talk with me over the phone and video chat with me and tell me in a way, and, you know, I was able to send him a copy of the book digitally and all that. He was able to teach me in a way that I was able to understand. Mm-hmm. He was just like, you just learned differently than people. You just had to change your learning style. like I knew that, but my teachers weren't willing to adapt.
Mhm.
Even though I had an IEP plan, I'm like, dude, you're supposed to follow that, but you won't.
Mhm.
So eventually, I just
man.
went to a specialized school who would follow that plan. And I'm like, I need something that fits my learning style, while still allow me to, like, you know, pursue my dreams and challenge myself. Because nothing there was challenging, except for the fact that when I didn't understand something, they refused to teach me in a way that I could understand. I'm like, this is how I'm more hands-on. I'm like, you can't just tell me to read it from a book. I need something hands-on. Give me a
Yeah.
real-world challenge. Incorporate it into a real-world challenge scenario and have me try to solve that. That's how my brain works.
That's the thing too. Like, I think that schools care too much about like the process, right?
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to like math, you know. It really doesn't matter how a kid got an answer if the answer is right. And if the answer,
like I was
kids
told,
show most of the work, but got the answer wrong, you know, constructive criticism instead of.
I remember being
but
my
like,
mom
there's
being
so many
furious.
different methods, and like everyone freaked out about Common Core.
It's like,
and like I will agree that the way they rolled out Common Core was not great, right?
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
Especially considering you can't just switch it up on a bunch of kids who've been learning it a certain way for a certain amount of time.
Exactly.
You know what I
Like,
mean? If they wanted to roll out Common Core, they should have rolled it out to the kids who were just starting to learn math.
Yeah.
And left it the same for everybody else and like tested it. But like if you really break Common Core down, it's kind of the way you do shit in your head.
It is,
like,
yeah.
The way most math is, you need a pencil and paper unless you can actually visualize the 14.
Yep. Uh-oh. Hold on, I think my internet just broke. Hold on. Is that better? Oh no. Did my internet just break? Am I still live? Dad, did they freeze or did I freeze?
I think we froze.
Okay, I think.
Are we back?
On my computer, you're not back. You're back on my like live stream now on the little StreamYard thing. Now you're back on both. Okay.
Okay. Everything kind of just disappeared on my end. Both of us. Well, first you were gone, but like the space was still there. It was like because you know when it's just one person, it's bigger.
Yeah.
But then I disappeared too, and it was just the background from it, and I had no idea what was happening, and I had no idea what to do because like normally I'd probably just like pick a video to play or something, but it's not.
I mean, I'm not a moderator. I don't have any privileges or any access, so there's nothing I could have done on my end except alert one of the moderators to do something.
Here, I have a perfect video for this situation.
Dab, 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 dab. I'm so fucking confused. God, what? God, I'm just gonna move on. Let's keep going. God, I hate being confused. God.
By the way, Troy is totally getting stickers made of the freeze frame at the end of that video.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, he's getting stickers made of the just the absolute confusion and bewilderment.
Sweet. Is he gonna be selling them? Because if so, I want to buy some.
Oh yeah, I want to get some too for sure.
I love that video. I remember when that happened because like I think I was up with you, or I was at least in the background.
Yeah. No, you're sitting over there, and Troy was talking, and he made it seem like he wanted to do the last dab soon. So I was just kind of hovering over it anyway, and then
you accidentally clicked it.
The slip of a button, slip of a finger, I clicked it, and then it started playing, and he looked so confused, and I stopped playing it, and then he looked even more confused, and then I started playing it again. Yes, it do be like that sometimes.
Oh, it's awesome.
Here's a good video.
You made me shoot weed smoke out my nose.
Oh no!
You said Burns, and I was immediately reminded of two videos.
You probably heard this.
I was reminded of
Young God. Not only does he make great music, but he's mental when it comes to inhaling things, dude.
Oh man,
Why?
he does doing blinkers through the nose. Is pretty
Like
intense.
blinkers through the nose. Ow, blinkers hurt enough on my lungs alone.
Yeah, the burning.
Why would
The
you do that?
Burning sensation.
Why would you do that to your own body? Yeah, no. If you haven't checked out his music, he does fantastic music too.
Oh
He
yeah.
will. I don't know if you got. If I Love We Live has a Discord or not.
You can continue talking. I just can't.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, because he does. Young God does post some of his music into the YD Boys Discord. So I don't know if you guys have a Discord or Troy has a Discord or not. Because if he does, then anyway, Young God I believe has a YouTube channel and he posts stuff there too. So he need to make some fantastic music, some of which I'm honestly just listening to and I'm like, I wish I could do that. I mean, I write lyrics and stuff, but I don't have the ability to sing. I don't have the voice for it. So I'd have to have somebody, do the vocals for me and stuff like that. And I'm not versed enough in making beats anymore. My ability stops at GarageBand on a Mac from like 2013.
Well, I mean, it depends on what your end goal is.
I mean, unless you count the ability to play violin, the acoustic, and the electric guitar as possible utilities in that aspect.
Well, I mean, are you looking to, like, if you write songs and play guitar, can you just work on your singing until you feel comfortable? Or
potentially, yes.
Form a band?
I mean,
or
there's actually a local recording studio right in town that some of the artists from Maine have used before moving on to other states to further their career. And I'm wondering if I go in and ask if they do like vocal training or not. If they do, see how much it costs.
Just Google that shit.
Yeah, and you can always, worst case scenario, just look up vocal training on YouTube and practice that.
Also, well, worst case scenario is one of the people I went to school with. She has a really talented, amazing singing voice, and she outperformed the chorus teacher to the point where the chorus teacher had her teaching the chorus class for the school chorus. So yeah, I might just pay her to help teach me a little bit. And if worse comes to worse, say, hey, if you want some extra money, I know you work a full-time job, but on the weekends, if you have extra time, I'll pay you for your time and to help me.
Use your resources.
Just remember that the first step at getting good at something is
to be
sucking.
At it.
It's sucking, exactly.
Yeah.
I know that because I didn't start off playing guitar and violin well at all. Like, when I started playing violin, it sounded like someone screeching and it was awful. I was like, Mom, I can do it. She's like, honey, you're doing great.
The only people that start off playing violin or any instrument well are prodigies, and how many of them are there in the world?
They all, like, even Mozart started as someone who didn't know what he was doing. And
just
Mozart,
play until you find something that sounds good.
And the thing is, Mozart people look at him and like what he came from and that kind of thing, and they're like, wait, he went from that to one of the greatest composers of all time. And even centuries later, his music and compositions are still relevant to this day. And in fact, they're used a lot of kids shows and lullabies and stuff like that to aid in sleep and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't listen to nearly as much classical music as I used to, but I used to
listen to a lot more now. So I listen to classical mixed with pop, and it's specifically from an artist called Lindsey Sterling.
Oh, I love Lindsey Sterling.
I do too. Roundtable Rival is one of my favorites.
Weird. I was jealous.
She's
amazingly like acrobatic and shit too. Like it's not easy to play.
Like it's not even just about her ability to play the violin so well. It's her ability to incorporate that into a stunning performance that's not just elegant, but it also matches the beat perfectly.
Oh yeah, it's her choreography is on point for sure.
Absolutely.
It's almost 10.
All right, guys, we gotta wrap this stream up because Troy's gonna be starting his in probably an hour or so. But I just want to thank everybody for being here and hanging out, and I, super appreciate it.
And listen to me talk because I definitely know how to talk.
So take this time after the stream. Take this time to go clean your bong, grab something to drink, make yourself a little something to eat, get ready for Troy's live, and then come over to for a little, rip and dip, wake and bake session.
Yep, we'll do.
West Coast style.
West Coast morning.
Yeah. Take care, guys.
All right, you too. Everybody have a good one, and we will see you soon.